of ETU Stadium to kick us off. And there's the bounce of the football. No ruck really could get a hand on it. Hopper got a hands on it. Davies got him high. So free kick, first way going the way of the Borough. Sends it up to centre half forward. Vickers was running hard at it, but Flockhart took the mark. Just inside the centre square, goes backwards, ball inside 50 now for Port Melbourne. And a mark at the top of the goal square to Miller. Have a very good opportunity for Port Melbourne to kick their first goal just seconds into this game.
It's a dream start, isn't it? The captain getting an early disposal. The big ruckman, Felix Flockhart, who had a great day last week against Carlton from an individual perspective. And this bloke too, Jimmy Miller, did a couple of nice things. So the big boys are standing up very early, Luce.
So Miller on the approach, puts the ball straight through the middle. There's the goal for Port Melbourne. They're off to the dream start.
Ooh, there you go. A little bit of
crowd announcing.
Voiceover work too. That was a good one, according to the crowd announcer. We might have to get his name, give him a shout-out throughout the day, Luce. But Jimmy Miller backing up his great start last week against Carlton. And as I mentioned, Felix Flockhart, he kicked 3 goals. He's from Old Brighton, Luce. Of course, we both are aligned with the Ammos. And I've seen Felix over the last couple of years. There was a little concerning moment last week where he hyperextended the knee, and that's why he's got the strapping on it. But
he's back.
He's back. He's out there, and he started well. Keep your eye on him if you're looking for a tool in the mid-season draft. He's up against Moyle, who's winning that one down. It's Robbie McComb charging after the share, and he picks it up and thumps it inside 50 again for the Borough. Presenting, but not taking the mark on that occasion, was Conlon. Big stack of players around this footy, including Carl Vickers, and the umpire will cross the arms and ask for it on the pain of 50. It's thrown in the air. Hooper won the toss, and they're going to the left of screen. McComb, another clearance for him. This one just off the side of the boot, but it goes 35 metres. The ball will bounce on its point. Miller will have another go, a fresh airy in the end, and the Gold Coast Suns with Harry Sullivan will clear.
Sullivan hands the ball off. They'll head towards the outer wing. Flockhart, though, on the end of it, rises to take the intercept mark. Had a few players waving their arms inside the centre square. Hands it off to half forward. Target is Miller. Was sandwiched in between 2 players. Now the ball out the back and the goal. Sorry, the behind for Port Melbourne. So it's lived in their end of the ground so far for the Borough, but couldn't get the second goal on the board that time.
Alex Sexton is the man to bring the footy back in. Straight up the guts. He goes with the kick. Big pack of players in the centre circles. Terrific mark taken from Long, but the umpires found a free kick. And Cam Wild. So here's his first disposal in VFL. No, he's
had to hand it off.
He's had to hand it off, unfortunately. And Tobias Watson will send it back from where it came in the Miller direction. The fall of the ball is Sexton. He swung 360. Flockhart tried to bust through a couple. The umpire having none of that. This will be thrown up around about 15 out from the Port Melbourne goal. Strong start, 1-1-7. Gold Coast yet to get it past the centre circles in the opening couple of minutes. McComb is lurking. He's the danger man in the number 1. It's come out the back door too, Robbie. Was he taken high? The umpire said he was.
It's like a rugby scrum. Just came out the back. He was ready to receive the football. I mean, if you put your head over the ball, put yourself in a good position, usually you'll get looked after.
So he has been a star joining the Borough this year. I think he was a genuine chance of being selected in that Big V game a couple of weeks ago against the Sandful. Unfortunately, just tweaked an injury the week before. So he put Port Melbourne before the Big V jumper. And you can see why. A couple of clearances already. And now a behind next to his name. It just went the wrong side of the stick. And it's a great start for Port Melbourne, but Luce, they've got to take their chances, especially against the reigning premiers.
Got to take their chances early in this game. Brought in by Jeffrey to Sexton. He's calling on his players to come towards him. Goes short. Finds Brock. Brock wants to use this broadcast side of ETU Stadium. Does well to find a teammate in Sullivan. He plays on quick. Great mark by Ben Long. Hands it back to Sullivan. Has to get away from 2 Borough players. Does really well to get it to half forward. Farah. Great mark over the back of Highmore. This fast ball movement from the Suns will end it inside 50 in this hot spot. Rising players come up. Mark taken. deep in defence by Flockhart.
Wants to go quickly to the outer side of the ground. Another terrific mark. This is Guy Barnes taking it in front of the coach's box. Tom Hurd screaming for it. And at centre half forward is Stoll Dreyer. He gets it. Maybe wants to bring it to this broadcast side. He stays corridor, intercepted by Brandon Ellis, who takes the mark in the centre circles. They're streaming forward here, the Suns. The kick, not a great one, but it's worked out okay. And inside 50, and Johnston is on the end of it. So that was a touch scrappy in the middle, loose from Bodie Hewlin, but he made it look okay. And Johnston now to have the Gold Coast Suns' first shot of the afternoon.
Just a good kick too, to be under pressure and still look up and lower the eyes and hit the target as well in a dangerous spot.
So Johnson will kick from about 40 out, almost directly in front here at ETU Stadium. This one's not coming back at all. In fact, it doesn't register a score. The mark's being taken right on the behind line.
So Green back there has Highmore in the pocket. Goes in that direction. It's going to go for the really attacking 45 to Stool Dreyer. And he's going to work it to the outer side. Finds a teammate in Stubbings. Hands it to Rankin up the line. Over the head of Gowers. That was the target. And out of bounds on the full. So it'll be brought back into play by Yoya of the Gold Coast Suns. Just in front of the Norman Goss stand. We'll kick it to half forward. Flying players form a pack, gets out the back. No one able to take possession yet. Scrapping on the hands and knees inside the forward pocket. Wins out for the Borough. Highmore tried to get around a player, was taken, and there'll be a free kick going the way of the Gold Coast Suns to Ben Long.
They'll take a good kick from here, but that incorrect disposal from Tom Highmore, I think he might have just thought he could break that Ben Long tackle, and unfortunately, he's completely missed the handball altogether.
There's not many players I've seen play as hard as Ben Long either, so that would be
That's a good shout.
A hard tackle to break. Ben Long going to go for the snap around the body, 35 metres out. It's curling very well. What a way to get your side on the board, Ben Long. That margin back down to 2 points.
It's a terrific kick of the football from Ben Long, but I'm not surprised at all with the skill that he displays loose, especially from the tackle. Now, I had the good fortune of having a chat to Adam Scrobelak yesterday, the Port Melbourne coach, and asked him, what do you need to do in this game if you want to be with the reigning premiers? And he talked about the fact that the uncontested marking, they're number one in the competition for the Suns, so they want to make it a contested game. And if you're going to kick goals to beat Port Melbourne from out there, I think you'll cop that.
Yeah.
But gee whiz, it's going to take some beating for a Smithy snag, an early contender for this round, loose.
Yeah, that's a tough kick. For 35, the distance on it as well was pretty impressive. Right foot snap. But it's always good also to kick a goal after you get that pressure from inside 50.
Absolutely. He kicked it almost like Jake Stringer did on Thursday on Anzac Day. Here are the Gold Coast Suns getting the clearance out of the middle. It's all a touch scrappy at the moment. The ball's been intercepted by Josh Green, who's locked up from James Cheetus. I think he's rocking some sort of ponytail, rat tail double.
That's an interesting style.
From the Suns captain as Boyle wins it down. Wild tried to break through the tackle. He's locked up there. You can hear the call through the effects mic. Dragged it in. The umpire stops and props and agrees with the Gold Coast Suns and with Jack Marnie. We'll go back to Sexton. And he might go further back. He does now with Sandy Brock, who just epitomises Gold Coast Suns, a name like that, doesn't it, Lou? Sandy Brock.
Sandy Brock.
So further afield, he went with the kick. And down the line from Caleb Graham, there is a stack of players on the outer side of the ground before it runs over the boundary line. We'll have this one thrown in front of the Urban Alley Brewery sign, loose, which we might attend after this game.
They do make a really nice passion fruit sour.
You frequent it regularly?
Not regularly, but when I'm at the VFL, I do like to have a Smithies. Moyle with the tap down. Oya wrapped up immediately by the debutant in Wild.
Sounds like you're looking for a nice slab to come your way post-game from Smithies.
I've got my quota I've got to hit today. Ball up the line. Goes inside 50 for Port Melbourne. Conlon couldn't take the mark. Gives this opportunity now for the Suns to clear. Oh, it's been intercepted by Miller. Runs into the open goal, blasts it through. Big mistake by the Suns. 8-point lead back out the way of Port Melbourne.
How impressive is that for Adam Scrobelack and the coaching staff of Port Melbourne to cut off all avenues to goal and then make them pay full-toed odds in Jimmy Miller. He's kicked 2 now loose, and that one to be a big man and awake to the fact that the switch was on and they were probably out if it got through, but the kick, probably not the best one to keep it low when your big man is reading the play like he was there.
I mean, in my time playing football, it's always been do not hit that kick across goal unless it's absolutely on. That's a bit of a coach killer.
So 2 goals for Jimmy Miller. 2-2-14. Port Melbourne, the Gold Coast Suns. 1 straight 6. We're back inside the centre square, just off the side of the circle. The 2 captains having a little push and shove as Flockhart jumped over the top. Casbolt's moved into the ruck for Gold Coast. Flockhart got a hand to that to intercept the ball, which allowed Harvey Hooper to spiral it inside 50. Miller presents and makes a contest of things. The ball goes off the ground there. A chance to get another one here. Running into an open goal. In fact, he tries the soccer himself off the boot there of Guy Barnes, but it's through for a minus score. But they're starting to win the clearances loose, and it's starting to stack up in favour of the Borough. The kick's no good. It's been turned over. Jacob Conlon, this time he's awake to it. That's 2 loose in the defensive 50 of the Gold Coast Suns. And Brandon Ellis, he could only stand there and watch as the number 34, right in front of his eyes, stuck the jukes up and took the mark.
Well, as I said, they wanted to stop those uncontested marks by the Suns. They're doing well to win their own.
So Jacob Conlon to inflict some early pain on the reigning premiers. We're right behind this kick here at ETU Stadium. Brilliant. The umpire doesn't move at all. Just rises a little to look at it sail over his head. And they've got their third. Jacob Conlon has his first. 3-3-21 to 1 straight 6. This opening term of the Smithies VFL season for round 5 between Port Melbourne and the Gold Coast Suns.
Yeah, 15 points now for Port Melbourne. We said they need to start taking those chances. They really are to kick this game off. But just good work. The pressure on the Suns to force those errors. Really good stuff from Port Melbourne. We said they haven't started their season well. They haven't got a win yet. So to start the season with a win on the reigning premiers probably would give that side a little bit of confidence.
Be outstanding for them.
So umpire back in the middle. Moyle just watches the ball come down, wins the tap down. Ball dribbles out. It's a pack of players over it. Green, the tackler for Port Melbourne, did well. So just inside Suns territory. Clearance won by Green, won by Sexton. Hands it off to Alice. Gets around a few Borough players to hand it off. Now Sullivan gets it back to his teammate in Newland. Works it out to Johnston. Jeffrey did well to get the handball away. Back to Johnston. Back to Sullivan. Now the ball inside 50 for the Suns. Farah took a little bit of a jump. Got back to Casbolt. The quick snap. Just away and out of bounds on the full. So back in the hands of the Borough defence.
Early going with this contest. Coming into the game, Port Melbourne ranked number 1 for clearances and already 6-1 in favour of the Borough. So far, it's paying dividends. Maguire goes short to Rankin. It's in the defensive 50. Might keep it corridor side. Just Rankin, it's a dangerous sort of kick. Might work out okay to get this one locked up and a restart. It spilt out the back. Davies, Sexton. Jeffries had his kick smothered by Flockhart, who's been busy in this game early. Going back with a flight here is Stubbings. Smashed into his own teammate. The Port Melbourne player down for the count. Might be Maguire. He's getting to his feet. Rankin had it roll past him. Stubbings went again. Farah to Alice. Was gang tackled. Thrown into the turf, and the umpire will call for the ball. Good to see Harry Maguire back up to his feet loose, as this one's going to be thrown up in the Gold Coast Suns forward pocket.
It's a bit of friendly fire there between the Borough. Firmly placed in the Fred Cook end right now. Great clearance one there by the Suns, but it was a great tackle to take down. Now, free kick, ease the pressure for the Borough. Going to come up this broadcast wing. Push out. Graham wins it off to Folkhead. Folkhead at centre half forward, laces it out for Casbolt. And Casbolt didn't even have to break stride as he rose up to take that mark.
One of the reasons Oscar Folkhead ended up on the Gold Coast Suns list. They saw him do that out of Geelong for the last couple of years. His skills on show, when he gets a bit of room, are as clean as just about anyone in the competition. And right there was straight out of the textbook. Well weighted for big Levi Casbolt. Now, this is the area that Levi's been known to sort of scramble every now and then loose.
So 45 metres out, the kick on goal coming towards the umpire, and it is pushed away to the left. So he did scramble that one, Joey.
He certainly did. Not as bad as some of his previous efforts. It was just offline, but right now, with their backs against the wall early in this contest, going to make every post a winner. Tom Hurd in game number 51 to the outer side of the ground, and Big Moyle takes the mark for Gold Coast. So they'll get a second chance to repel inside 50. He just went short to a wayer. The pink wheels on display here at ETU Stadium. He thumps the ball inside 50 in the direction of Casbolt. Flockhart stood in front of him and brought it to ground. In the end, it goes over the line with Nathan Cady seeing it over the 23rd man. So we'll have this one thrown in the forward pocket. Nick Francis standing Robbie McComb, who's had a couple of clearances early in this one. Jimmy Miller's moved into the ruck. He's kicked a couple of goals already against Moyle, who won it down. Looking for Ben Long. We'll have a secondary stoppage here. Loose, about 40 out from the Gold Coast goal.
So good to see the Suns keeping that ball inside 50, creating opportunities. Moyle slaps it as far as he can forward into the pocket. Off the bounce from Long, it was creative. Couldn't find the teammate. There'll be a free kick here. It was a player in Francis taken high.
It was almost unnecessary to grab him, wasn't it? They were away there, Port Melbourne. It's one of those ones you just get a little bit lost in traffic.
So Francis was making his run at the ball, just taken high, and now he's got the shot on goal, pretty much directly in front. He'll kick from 30 out. So Francis for the second one on the board for the Suns. On the approach, the right foot kick is sprayed right. So they're not making it easy for themselves at the moment, the Suns.
Getting some nightmares loose as a Collingwood fan, watching them on Thursday miss gettable shots in the first term. And if you're of the Port Adelaide persuasion, last night, that first quarter, 1 goal, 8.
Yeah.
They kicked. In the end, of course, they came away with the points, but it could have been all said and done by quarter time. You've got to take your chances, no matter what level of footy you're playing at. As Awaya thumps the footy to centre half forward. Green stands underneath it, got the socks up. You can't miss him out there. His kick into the centre square is a good one for Angus Curry, who cuts a swathe through them, has a bounce. Daring stuff, a little don't argue. And now to the broadcast side, it's in the hands of Rourke Smith, who fisted away from him. And they've got to go to work now, the Gold Coast Suns. Bursting his way through was Jeffrey. It was a kick that was more in hope than anything else, and it might work out okay for Ben Long. He's got Farah riding shotgun. Green closes on him. Farah steps around with relative ease. He has a bounce. Hasn't got a lot to go to. Had to wait for the cavalry to arrive. They did just that. The flying shot at goal is wide. It's staying out there from Nate Cady. And it's a minus score. Another opportunity goes begging loose.
Another one. 12 points. The margin to Port Melbourne. They could be ahead now, as McComb has to slap the ball away from the kick in.
The one thing I might be a touch worried about if I am Adam Scrobelack and Port Melbourne is just the ease at which that one came out. They, even though it didn't have numbers ahead of the footy Gold Coast, they were able to still navigate their way from the back pocket to it ended up being a score, albeit one behind.
Yeah, the pressure inside forward is 50. We saw a tackle from Billy Gowers get broken, and they're able to move that ball really quickly up the ground. As Long muscles it out, gets a hand on it, dive for the mark, couldn't reel it in. Watson Played for the free, didn't get it, but then the high tackle came. So immediate relief here for the Borough to Johnston. One of the ins for this week for the Borough. Deep in defence, wants to go wide to Hurd. Hurd takes the mark. Has Green running towards him at half forward. Rourke Smith waiting, Condon with his hand up. Called to play on. Goes on the 45 to Miller. Sailed over the head of Davies. Hands it off to Curry. Goes inside the square. Good pressure came. Barnes now at the fall of the footy. Has to tackle as Cheetahs gets the handball off to Jeffrey. Hands to Folkhead. Goes out wide to Long. Long will receive it on the bounce in the pocket. Goes one way. Goes another. Turns a full circle. Takes the bounce. Snaps towards goal to the hot spot mark. Levi Casbolt at the top of the goal square. Takes the mark, and hopefully this one will be a bit more regulation for the big forward.
Almost smart play, wasn't it, from Ben Long? Even to have a bounce and just gain another second or two.
So Casbolt with the snap. Won't miss that one. Puts the second on the board for the Suns. That margin back to 6 points.
Again, they're just a little bit more composed, weren't they? The kick from Tom Hurd, you can understand what they're trying to do to get it into the corridor. It's sort of been their third or fourth attempt to do that now from the back pocket to go corridor and take it through the guts rather than just play it down the line. I just wonder, Luce, whether being the best clearance side in the competition, despite a winless score to start the year for Port Melbourne, are they almost better off getting it out of bounds and resetting the play at half back?
I think it's the composure in the middle of the ground. I think Miller would have been better off just holding on to that mark instead of handing it off immediately. Sort of puts those smaller midfielders under pressure, and they keep losing it in the middle of the ground where Gold Coast are able to sort of hurt them on the rebound.
Back in the centre square, this one's going the way of the Suns with Moyle. Thumps it inside 50, went through the legs of Long. Then he went off the ground to the teeth of goal. This kick goes. Green grabbed it, and then Farah grabbed him, left the footy behind. Johnston goes backwards to go forwards. It ends up with Casbolt. He's got some time on the left and does what we spoke about just moments ago. On the roof of the place next door, out of bounds on the full loose. Had so much more time then too, didn't he, Levi? He even stopped to check himself.
It was a good build-up, though.
Well, so, the chaos footy.
Yeah, chaos footy. Highmore now with the footy at full back. So here they are looking again for that sort of slow play out of defence. Highmore plays on this time. Puts it into the pocket to Watson. He goes up to Hopper. Hopper looking for that kick. Wants to go long up the line this time, the safer option. Dodges around his player on the mark. Finally goes up the line. Bouncing football for Flockhart. Goes backwards. Hands ends with Vickers. Left foot high, up and under, will make its way to half forward. No mark was taken. There was a holdout, so a free kick going the way of the Borough. Green's got the football. He's looking inboard, looking for an option. Goes inside 50. Flockhart's underneath it. Won't take the mark this time. He was outmarked by Moyle, his fellow ruckman.
Gives to Sexton. This time they're able to switch the ground, although the kick from Sexton is centimetre perfect for Marnie. The former Roo takes the mark. Folkhead in short wanted it. Marnie opted out of that and decides to sink the slipper into it. So right in front of us, Flockhart, easy pickings. Moyle smashed into Farah. Both down for the count. It's a dangerous kick. Just ends up working out for the Borough. Hooper ran himself into trouble. He was gang tackled by two of them. And the umpire will call for the ball right beneath us. Jai Farah, maybe just a corky. He was smashed into by his ruckman right beneath us. So Moyles made his way down to contest this contest. It works out. Curry missed him. McComb's going to slide in and grab the footy. It was run down. Flockhart now. The little one worked out okay. McKenzie runs into an open goal and sneaks it through. Only just, but just is enough for Port Melbourne. It doesn't matter how they go through as long as they're the full 6 points. And Dan McKenzie kicks his first goal in the VFL.
It's one of the more interesting goal assists I've seen.
It was a kick from me to you away loose, and
Yeah.
for full transparency, you and I are about 50 centimetres apart.
I'm not sure that's what Flockhart intended, but as you said, as long as it
counts.
Creates an opportunity, it definitely goes through.
Fact, we might have to check that with champion data. Will that count as a kick? An effective one it is. But did it go far enough to be considered a kick?
Probably.
Okay. Well, that works out. On the numbers themselves, 11-9 inside 50 in favour of the Suns. The clearances 9-4 though in favour of the Borough Loose.
Yeah, Sexton, Ben Long both with 7 disposals each, and Flockhart leading the way for the Borough with 7. Watson the next best with 4. So Watson playing a lot of his game in the back half of ETU Stadium. Another clearance. Couldn't be won this time by the Borough. Umpire will ball it up again inside the centre square. Green on the bottom of that pack. Flockhart, Moyle. Flockhart does the roving himself. Gets it back to Rankin. Tries to spiral it to centre half forward. Maguire had to get a fist on it. Then the tackle was good. Jeffrey with the kick to Alice. Has to pick it up on the bounce. Pressure's incoming. Handball over the top to Moyle. Had it slapped out. Ball under plenty of pressure as it finds its way out to Elliott, to Alice in the middle of ETU Stadium. Ooh. Puts it inside 50. The diving, desperate mark was taken by Rowlands. Almost came out of nowhere to run across to take the mark, but an opportunity now, 40 metres out directly in front.
He has to convert too. It was a really good mark on the slide. It's almost like it came, as you said, from the interchange bench and just charged at the ball.
Yep.
Which is, of course, becoming more and more highlighted, the dangerous way that these players collide with one another. Thankfully, there was ground in front of him. Now he's got a chance to kick a goal loose.
So Yuland on the approach. It's a very good kick. It's definitely got the distance, but it's just pushed away to the right. So that lead 11 points the way of Port Melbourne.
And Rankin will bring the footy back in. Thought about broadcast side, then decided to go to the Norm Goss stand with the kick. And why wouldn't you when Maguire stands tall underneath it? Brings it into the corridor. Moyle was lurking. Big fist, and in the end he took the mark. So the ball's been turned over. And Marnie takes it. He felt the McKenzie pressure. Maybe played for it a touch, but a 50 will send Marnie inside 50. And maybe within range. Lengthy, sort of 52. So I wouldn't. Jack Marnie go back now and take his chance to put his name on the score sheet. 2 goals, 4. Hasn't been all that good in terms of set shots so far from within the V early on in this game. The Gold Coast Suns. Jack Marnie, of course, from North Melbourne. Over to the sunny state. Another one goes to the right. Another behind. I'm telling you, Luce, it's a plague right now going through the competition. First quarters and set shots. 2-5 now, the Gold Coast Suns trailing Port Melbourne 4-3-27.
10 points the margin. Ticking down to quarter time. Highmore brings it into Watson. Takes the mark out in front, wants to chip it further along to Rankin. Rankin. Slow again to Wild. Just calling on his players to head up the broadcast side of ETU Stadium. It's a high football up the line. Flockhart was pushed. It was Miller that was pushed. Goes inside. Good kick, finds Stooldryer right in the middle of ETU Stadium. It's slow build up from Port Melbourne. Still they go. Rankin. He pulls the trigger inside 50 for the mark. Was there a hold? Yes, there was. So Billy Gowers came down from his leap and made eye contact with the umpire.
Straight away too, didn't he?
And he got the reward that time. So Billy Gowers directly in front for Port Melbourne. Wastes absolutely no time, does Billy, and puts it straight through. So that's the 5th for Port Melbourne. They lead by 16 points.
A really good start to this game for the Borough. Had a good start last week against Carlton in the first term. Unfortunately, they conceded 7 straight against. So they've still conceded the 7 scoring shots today from the first quarter against the Suns, but 2 goals 5 as opposed to their own 5 goals 3. A couple of goals to Jimmy Miller has been a nice focal point for them up forward. Good for Billy Gowers, who started the year last year playing for the old Zavarians. Went up and played in the country with Moe. Kicked 6 in his first game there, so he knows where the big sticks are. He's found his way back onto a VFL list in 2024. And there is the siren to end. Well, a pretty entertaining opening term, it must be said. The game mostly played on Port Melbourne's terms. 5-3-33 to 2-5-17. They lead the reigning premiers by 6.
So Flockhart, Moyle up against each other in the ruck. Flockhart leading the way for Port Melbourne as well with disposals with 8. As Davies runs away from the congestion, puts it inside 50. Barnes was told to leave it. It was marked on the last line of defence, literally by Johnston of Port Melbourne. He's going to work it out to the outer side. Did well to get it to McComb. Hard up in the pocket. It's a very attacking kick to find his teammate and Stool Dryer. Right at centre half back. Rankin calling for it here on the broadcast side. That's the direction he goes. Had to go up against Ewland. Bound to work in his favour. Has players inboard. That's where he goes to Vickers. Was outmarked by Alice. Should have maybe put the handball off to his teammates on the wing. But now it'll be the Suns heading towards their forward 50.
It was Cheetahs giving it off to Sexton, thumping it inside 50 in the Casbolt direction. Just fell short of him. Strong from Farah to bring Hurd down. The handball towards Watson, who just went over his head in hope for Rankin. It bounced up nicely for Lockie. He sweeps the handball in front of Rourke Smith, and it bounced up perfectly for Rourke, who turns on the Jets. The kick no good. Intercepted by Ewland, who's wrapped up straight away and taken high by Vickers. And so Bodie will get the free kick. Half forward flank, he'll swing around and go inside 50. Again, he'll ask for Casbolt, and again, it's intercepted. Rankin, another mark for him. To centre half forward for Harvey Hooper, the skipper, who thought about stopping and propping and now deciding to go. He'll thump it out to just vacant land for Rourke Smith. He'll run out of room as this one rolls over the boundary line. We've gone a couple of minutes in this second term. No addition to that quarter-time score that reads 5-3-33 to 2-5-17. We've got Jacob Miller with 2 goals so far loose.
Handy 16-point lead for the Borough. Like Rourke Smith just stopping and propping up against the fence for a rest as it went over the boundary line. Now it's back into play. Moyle gets the front position, almost takes it out of the ruck, falls down to Hooper. There, Smith again. Handballs to Hooper, just has to punch it forward to McComb. Vickers wants it. But McComb, a short lace-out kick right into the path of Conlon. 40 metres out from goal. Scanning the forward 50 for an option. But looks like he's now going to take his chances. Have that shot on goal.
And another clearance from a stoppage loose. So a goal from that will be a great result for Port Melbourne. And this will take some kicking, considering what we saw in the first quarter.
So hard up on the boundary is Conlon from just inside 50. Doesn't quite give it enough. It's away for a behind. First score of the quarter goes the way of Port Melbourne.
He did kick a goal in the first term. Jacob Conlon, Gold Coast Suns are in a hurry to bring it back in front of the interchange bench. They thump it down the line. Norm Gostan side, all big fly from Farah. He's got some springs, that man, but Watson was able to stand tall and not be too distracted by a bloke on his shoulders.
He's been showing off his vertical leap today.
He certainly has. He switched the ball from still dry to Watson to Hurd. And now McComb again. Robbie's had a great start to this game. Beautiful kick too for Gowers, who wastes no time. He goes inside 50. The kick, though, lets him down, and Jeffries takes the mark. Last line of defence. He'll go across the ground. It'll work out for the Suns as Sexton for the Norm Gostan side. Johnston was in the contest with Watson. Rankin strong at ground level. The ball locked up, and the umpire will ask for it right in front of the Port Melbourne interchange bench.
So back on the interchange bench. Can Port Melbourne win another clearance here? Stubbings was tackled immediately and taken over the boundary line. So a throw in right in front of the Port Melbourne race umpire. Did a bit of a Matthew Lloyd, threw some grass up just to see which way the wind's going. Now it comes in for Flockhart and Moyle. Tap go down, goes straight in front. Gets out wide, Francis v Stubbings. The tap worked out for Green. Handballs to McComb. McKenzie now. Left foot kick inside 50. There's a one-on-one, turned into a two-on-one. This works out for the Suns' defence, and Jeffries just had to clear the ball and hope. Works out well. Moyle's kick was smothered. Now Stubbings can go back inside 50 for Port Melbourne. Big pack, big punch came from behind by Graham. Bouncing football into the hands of Barnes. Stubbings, handball to Conlon. Back now to McKenzie to the hot spot. A strong pack mark taken by Graham to stop that foray forward.
On the last line of defence, he took that mark. He picks out Sullivan in his opposing back pocket. Short ball, just gets to Brandon Ellis. He didn't take the mark. Brandon's got enough time, and Nouse to reel the footy back in. It's a 3-on-1, and Casbolt was strong. Took the mark, and the Suns are off to the races, although the kick no good. Stoledryer to Green, to Hurd. All of this by hand to Johnston, and now they're out. A nice well-weighted ball. Stoledryer will go again into the forward pocket for Gowers, and Billy had it fisted away from him. His handball at the bootlaces of Rourke Smith. He managed to keep the footy in. Danced on a dollar, tripped the light, fantastic. To the top of the goal square, was fisted away. Strong fist in the end. Bulkhead left it behind. Hurd wrapped up by Marnie and Oscar. And we'll have it on the paint of 50, the umpire. 11-6, that clearance count number in favour of the Burraloos. This one's thrown back up.
Moyle grabs it out from the ruck, squeezes the kick out. Casbolt will get there first, slaps it to his own advantage, but went straight through his legs. Johnston picked it up on the bounce, dived the handball out to Rankin. Kick went over the head of his target in Barnes, and Moyle picks it up for the Suns. Sexton now works to the outer side, wants Johnston. Vickers in pursuit. Johnston just chips it over the top, finds Cheetahs. He'll do the same and chip it over for Johnston. Couldn't take the mark. Has to pressure his opponent in Highmore to see it over the boundary line and for a throw-in. It's probably a good result here for the Borough. At half-back for Port Melbourne. Plenty of blue and red scarves just over the picket fence as Green wins the clearance. Curry couldn't take the mark. Picked up the crumbs, handed it off to McComb, spun out a tackle, and Curry will send it up the line. Umpire told Graham to play on. Cheetahs hands it to Oya. His kick will come to half forward. Couldn't be taken by Johnston. It was a good one by Highmore. Wants to play on quickly. Gowers works his way up ETU Stadium, turns and goes and launches from the centre circle.
They're queuing up. Cam Wild inside 50. It's along the ground. Not a great kick. Might work out okay. Rourke Smith, he gave the handball off. A wild snap in the end off the boot of Josh Green. Was Levi Casbolt areas out of bounds on the full. It'll be taken by the Suns right next to the behind post. It'll be Sandy Brock to do that and go to the opposite behind post with Sexton. Another short one to Graham. Sexton kept running. He'll run away from Jimmy Miller. A nice, composed, well-weighted ball for a way up. He also keeps the footy down low. This is Charlie Elliott, who stepped around his man on the mark without any real hesitation or problems. Big boy Moyle took the mark, quick to go to Cheetahs, who's just outside 50, to the top of the square for Casbolt, who's too big for Rankin. And Levi takes the mark. So they go the length of the ground loose. We saw that a couple of times in the first quarter. The real issue is this part, the conversion in front of goal. Not just for Levi, but for most of the Suns forwards from that first term.
And when you're popping it up to Levi Casbolt in a game like this, his strength and size is just something that the Port Melbourne defence hasn't really been able to contain so far today.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure they have someone of that calibre strength and size to stand him. Here's Casbolt on the runway, puts the ball on its way. The umpire starts to move a long, long way to her right, and it's a behind. So he's kicked 1 goal, 2. The Suns move to 2-6. We've just had the one behind to each team so far in this second term. 5-4-34 to 2-6-18 as Tom Hurd brings the footy back in.
So Hurd brings it here to this broadcast side. Maguire was in a scrap, couldn't take the mark. Francis was dispossessed. Davey with the pressure. Wild tries to get it out to Hooper. It was a really good kick, handball to Reeves, but he sent it the way of Port Melbourne. It was a really good kick up the line.
Oh, the defence are not happy with him at all.
It was just the wrong way.
Had a moment like that in your football career, Luce?
I haven't, thankfully. I might have run the wrong... I think I've definitely yelled at someone for running the wrong way, I think. So Reeves inadvertently is given the advantage to the opposing team. Ball comes in. Davey just ripped it out of the hands of Wild. Handball goes over the top. Falkhead went without it. Hooper hands it to Stubbings. Wild's at half forward. He'll get the handball. Now he wants to go over the top to Vickers. He hands it back to Maguire. Goes on a run. Left foot kick left him down. It dribbles into the corridor of the 50. Curry picks it up with the snap. Oh, what a finish. Didn't look likely after the kick inboard went along the ground, but Curry made it look easy. An excellent finish, his first. And that lead now back out to 22 points.
They just kept the ball in motion, didn't they? It didn't look at all pretty. It was very scrappy in the end, and we've seen so many set shots already go left or right of the goalpost, and Angus Curry barely had a second to look at the goals then.
Yep.
He snapped over his shoulder and produced the goods. What a great goal that was. That could end up in the Smithy Snags on a Tuesday afternoon, Luce, when they put that video out on the VFL socials. Get your dulcets out there.
Ooh.
Lucy Watkin having a great Saturday morning so far, as are the people in the Normgoss stand who are aligned with the Borough. They're enjoying this contest so far. 6-4-40 to 2-6-18, a 22-point lead. Port Melbourne have never beaten the Gold Coast Suns in the couple of years of this iteration of the VFL. Brandon Ellis wants to have a say in them wheeling themselves back in. A brilliant kick. Terrific, and Ben Long on the slide. Took the mark. So the quick reply is on if Ben Long can kick directly and accurately from 35 out.
Good hustle by Ben Long to get there for the fall of the footy as well.
He's probably been the most lively of the forwards. I know Casbolt's had his opportunities, but Ben Long has sort of pushed up the ground throughout that first quarter. He's kicked that brilliant goal too to go alongside his name, and he needs to convert here. They trail by 22 points in the second term. He approaches the goal now, and it just misses. Another one just missing. I feel like we're saying the same thing on repeat with these set shots. 6-4-40 to 7-19. Ben Long has 1-1 for the day so far, as Tom Highmore now brings the footy back in.
Yeah, the difference in inside 50s, out of bounds on the full.
Now, Luce, this is more sort of Casbolt areas.
Yeah.
Oh, he doesn't want to, though.
Oh, he's going to hand it off. No mark taken. Port Melbourne defence can clear this time. Maguire playing in front, punched away from him. Goes for the crumbs, goes to ground, slaps it away for Wild. Handball missed the target. Mackenzie came in. It was kicked away from him. Stubbings with the hand. Scrapping at ground level. Plenty of players. Rowland's on the bottom for the Suns. Still it gets away. Mackenzie spirals it. Graham will get there first for the Suns. Fullback marks, turns. Alice rises, hands it off to Davies. Long ball, sending in the long direction. Casbolt gets it off the pack. The snap, puts it through.
Communication let them down there, didn't it, Luce? A couple of Port Melbourne blokes went up, spoiled one another, and Casbolt read it well and stayed down. Kicks his second goal too.
It's almost like when he doesn't have to think about it. It's a good kick.
I think most players are almost, they would prefer that, wouldn't they? Than have to go back with all eyes on them. Just some numbers. 19 to 18, the inside 50 count. The hit-out's going the way of the Suns, 13 to 10, and the clearance is still in favour of Port Melbourne 12-10. The other area of note was the Gold Coast Suns, the number one team when it comes to marks. They're averaging 127 a game across their first 3 games, and Port Melbourne are aiming to keep that under 80 today. There's the number, little KPI. They're at 38. The Suns, Port Melbourne have taken 41. The sun has just been covered by the clouds as Miller has moved into the ruck, and Hooper will get the clearance. He'll go back to Green, and the short ball for Cam Wild, who's standing Alex Davies today, and wherever the number 5 goes, the number 26 will follow. Gives to Rankin, inside 50 for Port Melbourne. Have they got the quick reply? Well, Sandy Brock says no, as he fists it over the line. We'll have this one thrown in front of that magnificent new function centre they've got here at ETU Stadium, Luce.
It is nice. Stood up there for a couple of VFLW grand finals. It's a good place to watch.
We were last year.
Good place to watch the game.
They loved it in there last year, of course, winning the premiership on their home deck.
Ball comes back in, inside 50 for the Borough now. Vickers will get there first. Ball was paddled away. He's tackled by Cheetahs. Comes in over the top. Ball held up. Vickers trying to extract his head.
I think we might talk about this later on, Luce, but my favourite part of the VFLW Grand Final was what you brought up on State of Play last year, the tents.
The tents on the ground.
Yes.
Who knew that ETU Stadium was also a camping ground?
Only for premiers.
Only for premiers.
No one else can just come and camp out here for the night.
So that ball up went nowhere. We'll have another one. So Miller, Davies went up this time. Wild did well. Rankin was a sailing handball, couldn't get it. Green went in. He was wrapped up by Marnie. Ball still scrapping. Pressure from the Borough, putting every possession from the Gold Coast Suns under pressure at the moment. Miller's kick was smothered, went off the ground. Alice kicks and rolls the ball and Hope up the ground. Casbolt pushed off it by Johnston. Took on the tackle and got it to Watson. Rankin now, a 360 spin. Gets it in board to Mackenzie. He's going to go in board further to Curry. Just was worried out of it by Sullivan, who hands it off wide. Now here come the Suns. Johnston just slipped through his fingers at half forward. Jeffrey turns, gets it to Cheetahs. Kick goes deep inside 50. It's a high ball, and Long can come out and meet it.
Just a little bit of composure from the Suns, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, Port Melbourne wanted to put some pressure on every disposal and almost look for a repeat stoppage. Gold Coast were able to funnel it out with Alice. And in the end, Cheetahs, Graham, Elliott, far side of the ground, and now here's Ben Long. We're going to be right behind this kick, Luce, so we'll see how he goes from the set shot.
So Long, 45 metres out. Already kicked one today. That one just taken away by the wind across the face. So another behind to Ben Long's name. But they're eating away at this Port Melbourne lead, which is now 14 points.
Rankin to bring the footy back in. A pretty good first half, it must be said. And Mackenzie takes the mark from the kick. Carried the best part of 50 metres. Wild sweeps the handball here to Vickers. The left foot into the corridor. Hits his skipper in Hooper. He's got McComb at centre half forward if he wants. Jimmy Miller is also there. He decides to go in the Wild direction. Marnie is there watching it.
Mark.
Go over his head, and a brilliant mark from Wild on debut.
He's given a lot, Cameron Wild, on debut. I know he's been given the job on Davies, but especially this quarter, he's won a lot of his own football and really made opportunities for his teammates as well.
He's got a great chance here to kick his first goal while Davies can just watch on. He's had the 8 disposals so far in this first half. It'll take a great kick in front of the faithful to the Fred Cook end. They're looking for their 7th to snuff out the momentum of the Suns. Cam Wild goes wild in front of the faithful. He puts it through. The 17 other boroughs will get to him. And the Blonde Bombshell's got his first in VFL footy. Terrific finish too. Great hit. Great goal. 7-4. 46 to 3-8-26. They regain a 20-point lead.
It was an interesting hit of the football. He hit it on the inside of his boot to get that curve back towards the right to sort of offset the wind.
I don't want to keep harping on Thursday, Luce, but it was Jake Stringer-esque in front of the MCC members in that first 8 minutes of play. Just a nice little fade on it.
So good to see the Borough get around the debutant as well, kicking a goal, and good to see kicking a goal and straight back into the centre circle.
That's my favourite way to play Australian rules football. You don't take him from the ground when the adrenaline is pumping, the blood is rushing, and he's on top of the number 5, Alex Davies, right now. So
he's lined up right up next to Davies. Can either of them? Ball bounces Davies' way. Wild wins it again, gets it to Green. It's a spiralling football inside 50. A fist came. Gowers gets underneath it. Handball was looking for McComb, missed him. Smith goes wide to Green. They have to go backwards to go forwards, and it goes forwards through Hurd. Comes off hands. Vickers couldn't keep his feet. Cheetahs rolled over the top of him. Now Stubbings wrapped up. 3 Suns players on top of him.
Can we just go back to that centre square, Luce? You called Cam Wild getting their handball. That's why you leave players on the ground after they've kicked a goal.
Moyle taps it down. Wrapped up was Marnie. Alice now pops the handball over the top to Cheetahs. Davies got it now. He's wrapped up by Wild. How will the umpires see this? Waiting, watching, holding the football.
Oh, he's having a good return on his investment in his first half of footy at VFL level. I dare say this might be just beyond him, Cam Wild. He'll set this one up to the top of the square again with the fade. Big pack of players. They'll come from all parts of the compass. Vickers, as it hits the ground, locked up, a flying boot in there. From the pocket, Robbie McComb! Oh! You won't see better than that on this Saturday afternoon. Whistles going off everywhere. Celebrations galore, and the box on in the pocket of the Fred Cook end. The goal will stand. There'll be another free kick. Players everywhere.
Ooh,
Robbie McComb. What'd you see, Luce?
Just pushing and shoving. Jeffrey's getting in the face of a few players. There's a Sun player on the ground. Someone just looked to slap someone on the arm. It's all happening. Cameron Wild has just stood up from the bottom of that pack. So
he is playing.
The debutant is feeling his oats so far at ETU Stadium.
He is serving it up to Alex Davies. The goal from Robbie McComb stands. Now Vickers has the chance to kick 2 in 60 seconds. This could erupt again as he steps around on the left and he thumps it through. It's all Port Melbourne at ETU Stadium. 9-4-58 to 3-8-26. They've opened up a 32-point lead on the back of Cam Wild. The boy on debut has told his teammates to come with him, and they've extended this lead and busted this game wide open.
It's just awesome to see for Port Melbourne, a team that hasn't, as we mentioned, won a game this year, for a debutant to come in and just bring a level of excitement and, you know, like almost the naivety of feeling good and playing VFL level football.
He doesn't know any other way. He doesn't know the feeling of losing at this level.
So it'll bring, I think it's bringing something excitement for Port Melbourne here, and he's showing his worth very, very quickly. And as we mentioned, he's had the job on Davies, and he's playing very well. 11 disposals, he's got the goal, he's got a clearance. Whereas Davey, he's just had the 6 touches. So he's definitely winning the battle so far.
He's hurting him, there's no question about that. And in the blink of an eye, they were kicking for 11 points when Ben Logger had the shot at goal, Loose. It's now out to 32.
Yep. So all of a sudden, Gold Coast were sort of in the game. It was only 14 points earlier this quarter. All of a sudden, they're staring at a 32-point deficit as Hooper holds up the Suns in the middle of the ground. We're seeing a little bit of feeling in this one. Time on now here. Moyle, Miller comes out wide for Gowers. Has to pick up the footy, does well. Smith goes back to Hurd. Put it on the left, inside 50. McComb, can he take the mark? He can.
Oh, he nearly went on there, Robbie.
He nearly played on there. You can see the Gold Coast Suns players appealing that. Yuland on the mark. Wanted to know.
Yeah, Luce, just as this happens, I've got the binoculars on Cam Wild. He's off the ground at the moment, just getting maybe some clarity attended to on the knee. So I dare say he'll be back into the thick of the action shortly.
He was on the bottom of the pack after the
the dust up.
after the smoke sort of cleared, he emerged. But we've got McComb with the football for 4 in a row for Port Melbourne. The kick is low. It's a bit of a bullet, but it's away to the right. Jeffrey to bring it back in for the Suns.
That kick was too easy for Robbie. He prefers more of the stuff from the boundary line. He's putting on a show. Is Robbie McComb. Jeffries has a bounce as soon as he exits his defensive goal square to the Norm Goss stand side. Big pack of players with Moyle. He's got 3 to beat around him. There's been a whistle. High tackle on Rankin. So get the free kick. Will Lockie. And they're still dusting on.
Davies.
On with Miller. But Rankin. He's acquitted himself well in the back line. To Hooper, the captain, who for so long a lot has relied on him through the midfield. Today he's almost taking a back seat and just enjoying the time out in the middle. Still Dreyer has got the ball. He'll go back to Hooper. Just try and ease the squeeze on the last few minutes of intensity, the Borough. But they're right on top of this contest. Miller with a fly over the top of Sexton. He didn't take the mark. In fact, here is Sexton. Reeling in the Sharon now. Bounced off the chest of the speedster in Rollins, who goes inside 50 and picks out Ben Long in front of Tom Hurd. A couple of familiar names for Bomber fans, Long and Hurd, who so often would have combined in the red and black. Must kick this goal now, Luce. They're 33 points down. Nearing the halftime siren. We've gone 25 and a half minutes in this second term. It'll take a good kick from here for Long. Kick from just inside the 50. He'll put it on its way. It'll be to the near side. And it just squeezes in for a minor score. He's now got 1 goal, 3 next to his name. They've kicked 3 goals, 9.
Yeah.
And the margin is 28 points. Sorry, 32 points.
So the short kick from Rankin to the pocket comes to Highmore. Will he go short or come up this broadcast side? Go short to Rankin. Kept running from the kick in. Looks inboard. Pushes back now. Looks like they're just taking the time out of the game here. Port Melbourne. Hurd. Works it back to Highmore. Right on the top of the square. Now Watson finds himself in the pocket. He sees Smith. Had Sullivan bearing down, but Smith will go inboard to Hooper. So they're just keeping the footy out of the Suns' hands at the moment. Port Melbourne trying to hold on to this 32-point lead as we head to half-time. Goes for a bit of a run. Thought about giving it to Smith. The kick to Miller wasn't 15, so Miller loads up here on the broadcast wing. It was touched. Had Jeffrey arguing it was out of bounds on the full, but Modica must have just got a fingertip to it. There'll be a ball up almost centre wing here at ETU Stadium. Port Melbourne well and truly on top.
171 disposals to 136, going right to what you're saying, Luce, about not letting them get their hands on the footy. And just the 40 marks from this team that is number 1 in the comp, 4 marks. The number to keep them below was 80 as Gowers gets another clearance. That's 17 for the Borough. Flockhart went back to Conlon, was wrapped up in the tackle, managed to fashion a handball to Vickers. Now to Felix, who crosses 50. He doesn't want to shoot from the boundary line, the big man. To the top of the square with the kick. That's a good mark from Graham. The pressure was closing on the fullback. And he went to Sullivan. His handball wasn't a good one for Sexton. Hurd sees it go over the line. This has been a very, very good first half for the Borough. 9-5-59 to 3-9-27. 14 scoring shots to 12. Pitch a perfect day for footy on now this Saturday afternoon here at ETU Stadium. Looking for their first win of the season. Moyle wrapped up by Miller. 0-4 is what the Borough sit at. Their worst start to a season, Loose, since 1908, if you can believe that.
That is crazy. 1908, that was a long time ago.
Neither of us were around.
Definitely not. Quite worried if we were and doing this.
Going
that
well.
would be quite an achievement, actually.
Going well if we were.
Inside 50 for Port Melbourne. Vickers gives away the high free kick. Cheetahs wants it. Cheetahs will give it up to Gowers. Couldn't hold on to the mark. He was lucky. And the Suns will be lucky there.
Real lucky.
The siren sounds for half-time. 4 goals to 1 in that second quarter. A flurry of 3 in a row. Debutant playing on Alex Davies. He's currently winning that tough battle in the midfield. But let's see what happens in this second half. McComb tried to tap it onto Hooper. Doing really well was Cheetahs. Turned left foot snap, comes inside 50 for the Suns. Highmore came out to meet it, kicked it off the ground. Ricochets off Alice to opposing number 4 and Hurd. He was dispossessed. Long goes one way, handballs along the ground. Now Falkhead gets it back to Jeffrey, standing on the 50. Flying kick towards goal. Oh. Farah jumps up, takes the mark. He'll be kicking from only about 10 metres. It'll be a bit of a tough angle. But Jai Farah, we mentioned he's been showing off his vertical leap today, and that was no different.
Yeah, and he must go back now and convert in the first minute of this second half. They need to kick this goal loose. They've been awful in front of goal when it comes to the shots in the first half. So
to really keep the Gold Coast Suns in this game, Jai Farah in the first minute has sprayed it away to the right. Oh, hopefully they don't rue that miss like the others. Joe?
Well, Port Melbourne have made them pay so far in the first half. Rankin, who had 15 disposals in the first half, leading all comers for the Burra Hooper with a massive fly over the top of Davies, but he didn't reel in the mark. He's bringing him to ground. Geez, we've seen some cracking attempts for Mark of the Year over the last couple of weeks in the Smithies VFL. James Willis, Jack Hutchinson. There was another one last night for the Dolphins. They're queuing up. Good luck being on the selection committee when it comes to taking Mark of the Year at the end of the season. There's been a whistle on play. It's going the way of the Gold Coast Suns. Rankin thought he had a case to answer, but in the end, I think it might be the young man Charlie Elliott who's earned the free kick. Rankin still in a touch of bother. Hands on his head on the mark. And so Charlie Elliott in the number 51 for the second shot of this third term for the Suns. 3 goals 10 they have kicked. And directly in front, he'll take his best effort. And it's going away to the right as we look at the goal face and through for another behind. 3 goals 11 now.
30 points Port Melbourne lead by. Hurd to bring it in. Finds Highmore. In front of the function centre. Had Hooper short. Decides to go long where Smith is. Great mark taken by Yuland. Bodie comes in board to Jeffrey. Jeffrey right on centre wing, right in front of us here in the broadcast position. Comes back to Brock. Slow build up here. The hand comes off to Jeffrey. Into the middle to Sexton. Cheetahs. Turns. Finds Graham. Jeffrey kept running now on the outer side of ETU Stadium. Short kick goes inside 50. Play on for Oya. Short kick. Inboard. Finds the chest of Farah. Very neat build up here by the Gold Coast Suns.
You could argue that's almost their most impressive piece of play for the day. A couple of times they've taken it the length of the ground, and we've said this throughout the first half. This is the area that's let them down, the conversion in front of goal. They've had enough shots to be, well, closer within 30 points of Port Melbourne.
So Farah missed one on the right side, this time from the left forward pocket. Nails it. So 24 points now, the margin. Needed to kick the first goal to stay in the game, and the Suns do exactly that.
Yeah, they do exactly as Luce says. Kick the first of the second half through Jai Farah, who's had a couple of shots at goal. Yeah, back into the centre square with them. 9-5-59 to 4-11-35. Those disposal numbers have just closed ever so slightly. 190 to 158 from a marks perspective. They've already taken 6 in this quarter alone, 57 to 49. The KPI was 80. Keep the Suns to 80 or under. Port Melbourne are in a good position. And the clearances, 17 to 14. The number 1 clearance team in the comp, leading the way so far. But Gold Coast Suns have had a couple already in this third term. Got a nice rocket at half-time. They're adding another one as Ben Long bursts through the centre square from centre half forward to the top of the goals. It'll go all the way! That's the thrill of the grass! Another one for the Suns. 2 in 60 seconds. And they're just starting to motor now, Loose. Brilliant finish from Ben Long. It went over Casbolt's head and trickled through the line. What a clearance, what a goal.
I wonder if Casbolt was tempted to stick the hands out at it to take the mark, but he did well to keep the ball from getting touched on the line, and it goes over. As he mentioned, 2 and 2 minutes, the game's completely changed. 18 points the margin. I think it's the pressure that Port Melbourne brought in that late in that second quarter. They held up those uncontested marks from the Suns. They're back on top there, and just letting Ben Long just saunter through the middle of the ground. Green, they'll win the clearance this time through Gowers ruled the Borough. Barnes is underneath it. Marks, though, there by Maguire. Just came from about 2 or 3 players back to take it. Inside 50 now. The call came, but the mark wasn't taken. Green with the ball. Now Gowers going back to go forwards. The Borough as Maguire puts it into the pocket. The kick wasn't great. It goes into the hands of the Suns. Here's Brock. In the left forward pocket of the Bob Bonnet end. Sends it up. Highmore made it a contest. But it was deemed a push on Alex Sexton, so he'll get the free kick.
On the half-back flank, it is a polar opposite looking Gold Coast Suns to the first half. It's only been a couple of minutes of this third term, but they're right on top here. James Cheetahs, the skipper, has it in front of Tom Hurd. Wants to backtrack to Jeffries. In fact, it's Graham who switches the play. This has been an area that's let them down in the first half, and it might just do so again. Graham had to go and clean up his mess. McComb wrapped him up. He threw it on the deck. The fans are asking the question. Cheetahs doesn't stop playing to the whistle. He thumps it out wide. Brilliant pickup from Awaya. He went back to Jeffries to half forward for Casbolt. Now he is well within range. Levi chooses to check the kick into the pocket, and the mark's been taken by Long. He kicked a goal from right here in the first quarter. He's already kicked a goal in this second term. And if it's anything like he did in the first term, he'll take a couple of steps out and he'll convert through the big sticks. Port Melbourne just need to arrest the tide, but it's a swarm from the Suns. The snap from Long is absolutely picture perfect. He's got his third, and the margin is back to 12 points. 9-5-59 to 6-11-47. There's meetings all round from the Borough. The back line, the midfield and the forward line. How can we stop this rut loose?
Well, 5 scoring shots this quarter. 3 goals, 2 behinds, going all the way of the Suns. As you said, it's
7 minutes.
Yeah, it's a red and gold swarm over ETU Stadium right now. So Port Melbourne, they were well on top, 32 points coming into this third quarter. But the Suns just running over the top of them at the moment, using those uncontested marks that were spoken about to their advantage early in this third quarter. Just think Port Melbourne need to turn the dial up on the pressure. So Flockhart comes in. Moyle wins the tap down. Flockhart will do the roving. Tried to get it to Hooper. Comes off the ground, does Moyle. That's a really good mark. Sliding mark to Brandon Ellis.
Who is within range here, Loose.
So directly in front of goal. Right on 50 at centre half forward. Brandon Ellis steps right back to the edge of the cricket pitch here on ETU Stadium. Almost starting his run up from the centre circle. So he comes in, Brandon Ellis, he gives it a ride. Looks like it's going to have the distance. 4 goals back to back to back to back for the Suns. It's a single-digit lead for Port Melbourne, and it started at 32 points. The Suns, they are right back in it.
It started at 32 points 9 minutes ago.
Crazy.
In the blink of an eye. As quickly as Port Melbourne pushed out just before half-time, the Suns have reeled them back in. While all this is going on, just had the binoculars on the bench, Cam Wild has just been sitting there. He was the fire starter in the first half. I don't think his day is done. He hasn't really got up to either warm up or come on the ground. So Miller has moved into the ruck. But the momentum is well and truly with the red and gold. We go back into the centre square. Moyle got over the top. Ball's camped in the centre circles. Ned camped over the Sherrod. Hooper tried to break away. Brilliant handball back to Hurd from a standing start. He thumps it to centre half forward and hopes for Conlon to take it in the breadbasket, and that's what he does. Gives the handball off to Gowers, who's a thumping kick of the football. It's not going to be a score, but sitting underneath it, that's a brilliant mark taken by Guy Barnes.
Had to really sit underneath it and just watch the defenders come at him.
Was a high kick from Billy, and now Guy Barnes to cut a run of 4 straight goals, which has been a blitz to start this third term, and push the margin back out to 12 points. Looks like he's setting up for a drop punt in the pocket. He'll take a good kick.
Oof, near
It's
side.
missed to the near side. 9 goals, 7, 61 to 7, 11, 53. The Suns are closing on the Borough.
Ball back into play.
Oh, lucky.
Come
Very
off
lucky.
hands. It's actually gone out of bounds on the full. So repeat entry here for the Borough. What can they do? It's in the hands of Barnes. Just loads it up to the top of the goal square. Standing tall is Graham. Takes the mark. Calls for calm. He's going to hand it off. Suns streaming out of defence. Johnston in the middle of the pack. Comes off hands to McKenzie. Handballs up the line. Wants Hurd. Couldn't keep it in. Ball up. Tackle came from Elliott. So Port Melbourne centre wing here on the broadcast side of the ground. Davies finds himself in the ruck against Miller.
That's one way to break a tag.
Miller with the tap. Hooper just went without it. Now the ball high up. Whoa, Brett Jeffrey sat on some shoulders, couldn't take the mark. Smith, handball was too hot for Hooper. Vickers got there. The will tackle will go out of bounds for a throw in.
So right where the 50 meets the boundary. 4 goals, 2. So just the one behind in this term in favour of the Gold Coast Suns. It's 12 minutes old. Davies will do the ruck work again against Miller. Neither ruckman will get hands on it as it hits the deck. It's the speedsters from the Suns. Davey tried to paddle it on, but Hooper was awake to it. His kick, though, is going to be intercepted. Hewland by hand to centre half forward. It's been stolen. They cut a swathe through them. Barnes runs to about 35 out from goal.
Good
They
kick.
can now run it all the way in if Vickers wants to. He stops and props. He thought about giving a handball.
Flockhart was running into the open goal, but
Oh, do you dare handball to a ruckman?
Yeah.
At any point of a game, do you ever handball to a ruckman? I think not. Especially if you're a small forward, like Kyle Vickers is. He's already kicked a goal in that second term. And this, as we said just moments ago, a chance to cut a run of 4 straight and put some ascendancy back the way of the Borough. From point-blank range for Kyle Vickers, a steady approach, no mistake. He's got it. 10-6, 66, 7-11, 53. Kyle Vickers has 2 to go alongside Jimmy Miller. Ben Long leads all comers with 3, but the margin moves back out to 13 points. I see loose Cam Wild back on the ground, straight into the guts too. So I dare say he'll meet up with Alex Davies again
yeah.
for more of the same from the first half. Nice little bit of maturity too from Port Melbourne in the last few minutes, albeit just the 1 goal since half-time, Luce, to arrest some of this momentum back. If they can get another one, that might just do them the world of good as well. After, as we said, a blitz from the Suns in that first 9 minutes of this term.
Yeah. So the blitz from the Suns had them back to 6 points. Borough have it back out to 13. Davies putting himself back into the game here with that clearance. Gets it to half forward. Now the ball inside 50. Just running out on his own into the pocket was Johnston.
Ooh, Alice fell off the ball. Umpire didn't want to have a bar of it though.
Alice and Stooldryer going at it in the middle of the 50. Johnston, though, he's got a shot on goal to worry about. Going to go for the snap. Executed to perfection. That double-digit lead back down to single digits for Port Melbourne. 7 points. We're going goal for goal at the moment.
There we are now. And that is the Benlong pocket who has kicked a couple himself. And now Lloyd Johnson from the same spot loose. They're finding it easier to kick goals from there than the set shot directly in front. 8-11-59. They've kicked 5 goals in this term. It's a 10-6-66. Again, another meeting from the defence of the Borough. I love when they have it. What do they talk about in those meetings after a goal is kicked?
They do their positive affirmations.
It's a bit like cricketers after the end of every over.
Yeah.
They go and chat them. What do they talk about? See in 6 balls. Back in the centre square, Moyle kicked it over his head. Creative from the big man. Stooldryer sits underneath it, bounced off his chest. Green was wrapped up. Trying to came through was Ben Long, but he left the footy behind. Hooper wanted to go forward, decided to go backwards. Rankin now in a bit of trouble, but he didn't panic. Nice head on the young man's shoulders. Went to McKenzie in the centre square. Rankin ran past, but he decided to go to Watson. And Watson goes to half forward. Was there a push? The officiating umpires right on the scene said no. So Brandon Ellis from the halfback flank to Johnson. This is why you keep players on the ground. He's just kicked the last goal. He's got the adrenaline rush and he's got the Sharon in his hands. On the broadcast wing, he'll go to half forward. Long tried to reel it in with the one Duke. Highmore was up to the task. Long's down for the count. The kick just to space. And seeing it over the line is Harry Maguire. Slow to get to his feet along with Tommy Reeves. We'll have this one thrown in right in front of us.
Yeah, it looks like Long just copped a bit of an ear massage on the way through from Highmore.
Good day for a massage.
Nice out in the sunshine. Ball back into play. Moyle, tap down, won by Francis. Just hurries the kick towards half forward. Casbolt, Johnston. Just see the ball over the boundary. The Suns been all over Port Melbourne, getting the game back on their terms after the late Port Melbourne flurry in that second quarter. Seeing more of those uncontested marks. Seeing Alex Davies get back on top of that tag. Francis handed it straight back to McComb. His kick was just straight up and down. Get it back here, has to fight for the football. Davies couldn't get rid of it. Holds it to his chest. Ball up, just edging inside 50 now for the Suns.
Just on the marks, loose. 62 apiece now between these two sides, and the clearance is 21-19.
So evening up all over the ground for the Suns. Atlas just saw it slip through his fingertips till he could get possession of the footy. Great kick inboard to Sexton. He's got numbers inside the centre square. Graham takes the uncontested mark. Short chip was really good. Find a teammate inside 50.
Now, he's kicked the tough, or he's given it off.
Now Jeffrey sends it from inside 50. It was a very lackadaisical kick. Just came off one step, and it was just away to the left. So, an even goal now, the margin.
I was about to say, it'd be interesting how Lloyd Johnson approached that shot of goal. He didn't even want to bother with it, just gave it off. As Highmore checks the kick for Robbie McComb. He's got Maguire in space on this broadcast wing. Stops and props short for Vickers, who's kicked a couple of goals in the pink wheels. Glistening in the sunlight. He's Kyle Vickers. He's got Johnson back if he wants to, but he'll opt to go down the line. Set this one up for the high flyers. Maguire's run down there. He was the one who kicked it to Vickers, but the Suns on the bounce. Cheetahs to Moyle, to Sexton, to Davies, all by hand. Ooh. Through the centre square. Nearly got run down Did Davies, but it worked out okay. And in vacant land is Jeffries. Went past him. Still dry was clean for the Borough. And a wide handball to Green. Inside the centre square. Didn't go far enough. To Green. The turnover kick came off the boot of Modica. The Suns want to go quickly. Johnson in a one-on-one. He takes the mark. Stands tall on 50. Might be just beyond his range. Ooh. He chiselled it in short. In fact, he mishit it altogether. And the Borough can clear with Rankin.
So Rankin comes with Stubbings. Had to really earn that one. Bounces straight back up. Does Stubbings. The numbers scream in front of him here on the broadcast wing. Goes for a run, puts it on the left. It's going to be a pack mark if it is. Graham comes in over the top with the fist. Bouncing ball, Davies will get there first. Really clever handball to Falkhead. Reeves just wants to send it inside 50. Comes off hands. Stool dryer, has to be quick. Tackled. Gowers picks up to run away, but it's too late. Free kick's been given. It's directly in front for the Stones, the Suns. Johnston, he's given away the free kick.
Now, Will Rowland's just off where the man on the mark is standing. May have copped one right in the ribs. At the moment, he's either got a corgi or just had the wind knocked out of him loose, but he's standing right next to Watson on the mark.
Long's got the ball in his hands. He's kicked 3 goals, 3 today. It's been part of this, or a big part of this resurgence for the Suns in the second half. He comes in. That's 3 goals, 4 now for Ben Long. 5 points the margin.
Rollins is still haunched over as Tom Hurd brings the footy back in. We've got the close one on a Saturday afternoon at ETU Stadium between the winless Port Melbourne and the reigning premiers, the Gold Coast Suns. We drew last week to the Sydney Swans, kicking 8 goals, 12, so they've gone past that score by 1. 10-6-66. Port Melbourne went down to Carlton in a shootout at Icon Park last Sunday. Flockhart will do the ruck work against Moyle. He started the game really well, did Felix. Really call his name all that much in the second term, but McComb ran into the Johnston tackle. He might be penalised here, Robbie. He will be. And Lloyd Johnson, since he kicked that goal, has been playing some inspired footy on his own. He's pointed towards the goal face, so this will take an incredible kick. It'll have to go the best part of 55 metres. And if it does go through, they'll be in front for the first time today, which I don't think was on many bingo cards at half-time. Lloyd Johnson gives it everything he's got, gives it a ride. Gave it too much to the near side and another behind. They're closing loose, 1 point at a time. 10-6-66, 8-14-62.
They're definitely doing it 1 point at a time at the moment. The Suns, Highmore wants his players on the Norm Goss stand side of ETU Stadium. Big pack forms, big mark taken by the big ruckman in Ned Moyle.
It's been the bigs, hasn't it, Luce, taking these big clunks.
Yep, clunking it there. Moyle almost went inboard. Just going to send it back where it came. Big kick from the big ruck, and Farah held out his opponent, cradled it to the chest with one hand, and now the opportunity to put the Suns back in front, kicking from almost directly in front of goal. Surely from here, Luce, he doesn't miss. So Jai Farah comes in, wastes no time, and he kicks the goal. After an hour and 21 minutes, the Suns find themselves in front for the first time today. An hour and 21 minutes? Yep. 23 minutes into the third term. They finally take the lead. 9 goals, 14. 23 scoring shots to 16. And this term, it must be said, Luce, has been an avalanche in favour of the Suns. They've had 36 inside 50s for 23 scoring shots to 31 for 16 scoring shots. They have closed that disposal count, which was minus 50. They're now within 24 of the Borough. There, clearances are 21 apiece. 69 marks. They've taken nearly 30 in this term alone. Wow. Burrow got to put in some work to keep them under 80 now.
And we're back into the centre square. Beautiful bounce from the umpire to restart play. Moyle won it down. Cheetahs, he was dispossessed. The umpire thought about a high tackle, then opted out of it. Sexton picked it up for the Suns and sent them inside 50. Hurd was called out of it, but then he had to go back and win the footy on the deck. Locked up. No, he was tripped, so Tom Hurd gets the free kick to Hooper. There's no need to panic for Port Melbourne. Still plenty of time before three-quarter time. And then, of course, the last term in this contest. Hooper may have just caught one in the chops from James Cheetahs as he slipped over to go around him. So the two captains take two for Harvey Hooper. He switches the play. Comes to the broadcast side. Tom Highmore gets it on the point of the centre square. He'll go for Stooldryer. He's got some vacant land in front of him. Closing quickly was his opponent, Jimmy Miller. Right at the bootlaces, took the mark. It's a stacked forward 50 arc. Flockhart's down there. Gave to Gowers from a standing start. Billy checks the kick. Vickers has got two to beat. No whistle from the umpire. They're going to try and lock this one up. There now is a whistle as Barnes was off to the races, but it's a free kick going the way of Sexton and the Gold Coast Suns.
So do well to get out of trouble there, do the Suns. Sexton sends it right across to Graham. He's going to send it wider still to Sullivan. Sullivan short again to Cheetahs. Will get it back. Runs up the outer side. Keith couldn't find the target. There's a whistle. It's going to be an advantage. Suns streaming back towards their forward 50. Chopped off by Highmore. Highmore into the centre of the ground. Not even sure who was trying to find with the kick.
That was something they did in the first quarter, wasn't it, Luce? The corridor kicks that were turned over.
So Alice, dangerous position. There's a really strong mark there in defence. Again by Highmore. So from one mistake to another. Hurd, still deep in defence, hands it off to Watson. Watson at half forward wants Vickers. He's going to be in a 2-on-1. So it's going to be out of bounds on the full into the hands of Alex Sexton.
Go short for Cheetahs, but I think the umpire will send him back around. So Alex Sexton will have to go again. He's got Brandon Ellis in short now. He'll try again with Cheetahs. No, he'll opt out of it. Call to play on as he runs back inside the field of play.
Well
Brilliant
done.
smother from Vickers, but it bounced perfectly for Sexton to get it to Cheetahs and then back to Alex. Inside 50 for the Suns. To the top of the square, Moyle in a one-on-one. The ball hits the deck. Flockhart was clean. Spun 360 as he got to Tom Hurd. The left foot kick was just haphazard. Cheetahs takes it a kick and a half out from goal. Wants someone to present ahead of the football. He'll go again for Casbolt. He'll go again for Moyle. Hurd will do the roving. Out the back, Monica. Up and down the chimney goes the kick. 45 metres down the line. It was fisted to the ground by Miller. Rourke Smith was strong. Broke the tackle. Got to Maguire. Harry's off to the races. He sweeps it for Billy Gowers. Hasn't got a lot in front of him, so he's got to run backwards to go forwards. The kick's a dangerous one. To centre half back. It's been turned over. Moyle and Flockhart in a one-on-one. Miller, the big man, had to bend down a long way. Monica on ground level. Got to Hooper. Was thrown into the ground. The Suns are willing themselves to every contest, and they're going to be rewarded at centre half forward with a free kick.
Hooper put in a headlock. Sexton wanted the handball. Now he will get it. Right on 50. Hands it to Oya. Just dropped the mark. The handball, sorry. Stooldryer took him high. Almost went back to Sexton again. Wants to come inboard. Does well. So Suns just slowly using the football here for the slow build-up. Yawland now runs around the player on the mark. He launches inside 50. Just away to the right. Thought he had that one. 3-point lead now for the Gold Coast Suns.
You can see every Port Melbourne player, Luce, just every time they get possession, just slow it down, and Rankin is doing that from his defensive goal square. The problem is it's allowing the Suns to set up, and Rankin's just got to kick in hope that Maguire can fly with two. There's the siren to end the third term, owned by the Gold Coast Suns. It was a 6-goal quarter. 6-6 they kicked in that term to take a 3-point lead.
34-point swing.
Incredible.
Gold Coast Suns.
9:15:69.
We've got Port Melbourne heading towards the Fred Cook end where all the scoring was done in that third term. Hooper wins the clearance this time. Davies, though, will pick it off. Cheetahs spoiled his own teammate, opened the door for Curry to send it to centre half forward.
Great mark from Gowers.
Gowers.
Wasn't it?
The ball wasn't really directed towards him. Just went up and under, but he stood tall underneath it.
Yeah, you're right, Luce. It really wasn't. And he almost had to reach backwards to get it. And just had enough flexibility in those big shoulders of his, Billy.
So, Billy Gowers starting his run from inside the centre square. He'll kick it from right on 50 to get the Borough back in front. It's an excellent kick. Billy loves it. So do the Borough. They're back in front to start the fourth quarter.
That's exactly what Adam Scrobelack would have asked and wanted for his team. First minute, let's get our intent back on the game. They get the first clearance. Billy Gowers, an important player in this lineup, kicks his second goal. They get back in front too, and a little bit of shooting stars coming. Smash Mouth. That must be his song of choice for Billy Gowers.
Oh, it's trickled down into the VFL.
I like that. I like that. We had the ground announcer for the very first goal of the game for Jimmy Miller.
Yep.
Maybe he's demanded that, Jimmy. The ground announcer.
Jimmy said no song. I just want all of my goals announced.
Billy Gowers has kicked his second. They take back the lead. Just had it lost before three-quarter time. Off the ground goes McComb. So another clearance for Port Melbourne. Here's the latest goal kicker in Gowers. He finds a way through, sweeps the handball off to Maguire from a standing start. It's a thumping kick into goal. It'll stay inside the field of play as well. Right on the goal line, Brock. He's run over the line. Is he going to ask the fans questions? And a minor score. One behind. 11-7. 73, 9-15, 69 in favour of Port Melbourne.
So Port Melbourne starting this fourth quarter, sort of where they finished the second. The Suns now. Moyle. Is it a realistic attempt? Apparently. Oyer on the wing, goes short. Highmore with the fist. Sees it thrown back into play. This is a win for Port Melbourne on the outer side of ETU Stadium. They've got plenty of their scores from clearance today. Miller, Moyle in the ruck. Moyle wins that tap, sharked by McComb, spun out of the tackle, went one way, decided to go another high up the line. Flockhart couldn't take the mark, smashed away to the line. Another ball up for Port Melbourne. They've won a bit of territory with that one.
Just in front of the Norm Goss stand. It's about to be thrown in. Billy Gowers kicked the goal already in this final term to take back the lead. He's lurking at the back of this contest. Miller and Moyle. Miller went back towards the safety of the boundary line. And Wild sees it go over with a way up. So we'll have this one thrown back in. He's been a spark for Port Melbourne on debut, Cam Wild. And standing Alex Davies since the first bounce. He's got a goal to his name as well. Moyle grabs it out of the ruck. Just sends it down the line to space. It'll bounce on its point perfectly for Casbolt. He'll sweep the handball back to Awaya, who will thump the footy to 50 out from goal. And Jai Farrow was in a one-on-one with Highmore. As it hits the deck, thumped in by Davies. It'll bounce for Long alongside Watson. He gives the handball off. It's a fumbly one. Long will have a second attempt, and off the ground it robbles through for a minor score. So it's at the right end of the ground for the Gold Coast Suns. 3-5 to Ben Long on this afternoon as Tom Hurd brings the footy back in for Port Melbourne.
Credit to Watson then. He was stuck in a 2-on-1. He had to affect the ball then. And he just got a hand to it to make sure it wasn't another goal to the Suns. Brought back into the play, Rourke Smith just dragged to the ground by Falkhead. Ball will be thrown up here on the boundary wing. 3 points now. Davies got it, wrapped up immediately by Wild. Green comes in over the top. Another ball up. So Wild back into that job, playing on Davies as Green, taken down by the ruckman and Moyle. Stoppage after stoppage here in this patch of the fourth quarter. Moyle just slaps it as far as he can. McComb v. Alice. McComb wins this one. Handball to Smith. Paddles it to Rankin. Kept it in play. Ran through the traffic to put it inboard to Curry. Turns quick. Vickers is calling. He gets the kick from Rankin, who got the hands. Vickers finds Gowers almost in the spot where he kicked the goal. He'll go again on the left foot. It's an open goal square. It's bounced through. Billy Gowers goes back to back. Port Melbourne back out to a 9-point lead.
Showing you he can do it at both legs too. And what about the work and the courage of Rankin to get that ball back inboard into the corridor? We've talked about it throughout the day, Luce. Their willingness to at least keep having a crack at it, even when it gets turned over. They're not going into their shells. And there is the smash mouth all-stars from Billy Gowers again. He's kicked 3. That one was on his left foot at centre-half forward. And again, another player who didn't panic when he dropped the ball. He had a nice little bit of space around him to stay composed. And we're back out to 9 points. 12-7-79. Maybe the accuracy will end up being the reason that the Port Melbourne Footy Club post their first win of the year against the Gold Coast Suns. 9-16, a 9-point ball game. Flockhart and Moyle. Ned just grabbed it out of the ruck and thumps it inside 50 at the front of the contest. Here is Nathan Cady, who's been given the free kick, and Green can't believe it. It'll take the 23rd man's best effort. The set shots have been a real issue for the Suns. Is there a quick reply from the number 62? From right on 50, gives it a ride. It's going right to the line. It's not going to go all of the way. Tom Highmore stands tall in the goal square and takes the mark. He goes short with the kick. Still Dryer across the ground, back to Highmore. So in his defensive 50-yard, takes the ground in front of him. Chisels the ball beautifully into the hands of Green, who thought about going to the corridor and then decides to just check it ever so slightly for Rourke Smith.
Rourke Smith here at half back. Boundary side. Has Barnes ahead. Has Rankin asking for the football. Goes long up the line here. Flockhart underneath it. Miller as well, but Moyle, the tallest of them all, stretches out the hands and takes in the mark at half back. So Suns to send it right back towards their 50. It's a high ball. It's a one-on-one with Casbolt. Just got a hand on it. Johnston goes back to Hurd. Didn't hear the footsteps. Cheetahs with the tackle and the free kick. Wheels. Goes inside 50. Jara wants it. Farah will have it punched away from him by Tom Highmore, who's done a really good job today.
He had a really good game, hasn't he?
12 marks for Tom Highmore. He's working really hard out in defence. He's stopped a number of scoring opportunities for the Suns. He'll be working hard in this last quarter.
Playing the role that Ethan Phillips previously played, the round Fothergill medalist. Moyle's handball was too hot in the end for Charlie Elliott, so we'll have a restart in the same spot. It's almost becoming his number one move at the moment. Ned Moyles is just grab it out of the ruck. He's done that a few times already in this final term. We'll go up again against Felix Flockhart. It's at the right end of the ground for the Gold Coast Suns. This time he just paddles it down. Cheetah slipped over. It ends up with McComb to Wild. Nice well-weighted ball. And the mark's been taken by Barnes.
Good by Francis to hold it up too.
Tom Hurd as Barnes comes back inboard. He's got Wild short if he wants. Barnes is screaming for it. I dare say Hurd will keep it on this broadcast wing, and that's what he does. Miller gave away front spot, was able to effect the spoil. Strong tackle from all comers. Unfortunately, though, Cheetahs didn't have the Sherrin, so he'll get the free kick on the wing. The skipper of the Suns has got Moyle on short if he wants. He decides to backtrack and retreat to Sandy Brock. Go across the ground. He will now. Out of side. Well-weighted ball for Sexton. Chisels it down the line. The mark's been taken from Bodie Yulin. The ground opens up in front of Awaya. Green was stern on the mark. Awaya thumps it inside 50. Casbolt direction. Moyle's down there. It's fisted to the ground. Elliott's lurking, the danger man. He sweeps the handball backwards to Casbolt, who just missed Falkhead, who's now in trouble. Wrapped up, closed down by Stooldryer, and the umpire asks for the ball.
It's a really good defensive tackle. He was out then if that pressure didn't come. Ball up inside 50 for the Suns. They trail by 8 points. Moyle with the tap down. Hurd got on the footy first. Elliott tries to just tap it forward. Green now taken high. So Green for Port Melbourne get a free kick here.
Just release some of that little bit of pressure. But they're hanging on right now, Luce. The last couple of minutes been camped at this end of the ground.
So Rankin actually has the football. Pops it up for Hurd. Take the mark right on 50. See Smith. That's where he's going to go. Had Long bearing down on him.
I've liked the game of Tom Hurd, Luce, as Rourke gets to his feet. I think he's played really well across the halfback flank today.
Played really well. As Smith, he's got the ball at halfback as he has for a lot of this game on ETU Stadium. Goes back to Highmore. He's going to switch it to Green. Green has a bit of space up in front of him. Going to kick it to a one-on-one. Stubbings did really well. Had to play on quickly. Puts it on the left. Good mark taken over the top by Graham of the Suns. Jeffrey sends it forward. Wants the hands. Fandoya just gets it away. Green put his head over the footy for the Borough. Clears it away back up this Norm Goss wing. Vickers wasn't playing in front. And now an opportunity for the Suns. Sexton sending it wide here for Falkhead.
So he takes it in front of where we're calling all the action here on afl.com.au for Ben Long in front of Rankin. He's been busy today as Benny, just hasn't quite been accurate. 3 goals, 5 next to his name. 9-16 for the Gold Coast Suns. They trail by 9 points. Casbolt presents. It's a 3-on-1. They crash the pack. Bodies everywhere. Hurd stands up. He might be run down. He's got time to get it to his left foot. Pick out Rankin. Now it's a foot race in two. It's Graham and Hooper. Which way will it fall? Graham got a hand to it. Did really well. But now it's hit the deck and the big man's got to go to work. Hooper shoved him aside. The skipper stepped around him. He runs into goal and puts another one through. A fist pump to the Fred Cook end. Celebrations to the faithful. They're one step closer to their first win of the year. A captain's goal to put them 15 points up. 13-7-85. 9-16-70. Graham did everything that he could that a big man should. Unfortunately, though, Luce, the little man was just a little bit too nimble.
Sometimes you just can't beat the desperation of a captain searching for their first win. Hooper was not going to give up that goal. As soon as he saw that one-on-one, you just knew he said to himself, I'm going to do absolutely everything. He scrapped for it. He made the opportunity. It's so good to see him kick that goal. That gives them just a little bit of a buffer here at ETU Stadium.
And Luce, it came off the back of, even though he didn't mark the ball, Tom Highmore leaving his man to effect a spoil with Levi Casbolt at halfback.
And we spoke earlier in the game, Casbolt had taken a few marks, had a few shots on goal. Who was going to be the defender for Port Melbourne, you know, to take on his power and size? And Highmore, even though he doesn't have the size like Casbolt, he's put his body on the line, and look what he's doing for his team. Hooper puts his body on the line again.
See why you put goal kickers in the centre square after they kick one loose?
Yep, here he is. He's won the free kick.
Especially the captain.
He was slung by Cheetahs. Now he sends it high. Flockhart underneath it. Miller. Vickers got it off hands. Can't get through the tackles. Brought to ground. Ball up. So can Port Melbourne put another one through? 15 minutes into this fourth term.
They're back on top when it comes to clearances, and they've only held them to 6 marks in this final term.
Big difference from that third quarter where Gold Coast Suns ran away with it. Suns are going to spiral the ball towards half 50. Johnston didn't take the mark. They didn't communicate with each other, the Borough. Long now, in pursuit, was put in a 2-on-1. Watson did really well to get it to Rankin. Rankin goes back to McKenzie. Has a bit of time and space to switch the footy.
He does to Rourke Smith, and that's clean, composed footy from the Borough, and Rourke will go for Billy Gowers. Bit of AFL experience in those two boys. Spoiled down to Cheetahs, who will thump the Gold Coast Suns to the top of the square, and Highmore, it's easy pickings for the number 35. takes the mark and belts it to the broadcast side. Ellis went back with the flight, brought it to ground for Falkhead. He went for Brandon on the handball and missed him, and Barnes was wrapped up by Brandon. We'll have this one thrown up on the half-forward flank for the Gold Coast Suns. Cam Wild is lurking around this contest. He's standing Oscar Falkhead. Casbolt moves into the ruck. Flockhart won it down. Another clearance the way of the Borough. Stubbings down the line for Miller in a one-on-one. He's quite content to get it over the line, and we'll have this one thrown back in. And a great contest, a seesawing battle in this second half. 32 points was the margin loose at half-time, the way of the Borough. The Suns came storming back in the third term to lead by 3, but right now they trail by 15.
Port Melbourne going back to their strengths in this fourth quarter, winning the clearance, stopping those uncontested marks of the Borough. Hooper just gets it forward. Gowers gets there, absolutely runs through his opponent in Newland. Ball comes in, the mark wasn't taken. Suns now on the rebound. Throyer in the centre of the ground, sends it to half forward where he has Sullivan. Going to come inside 50 now, the Suns. They go from end to end. Watson on the end of it. The physicality from Billy Gowers then.
Just steamrolled Bodie
Just
Newland.
ran straight through him, ran over the top of him. Get out of my way. Hooper with the mark at centre half back. Watson keeps running. Wants to go to the Normgoth side of ETU Stadium. Does. McComb. Quick little chip. Gowers has it again. Who's he going to take on this time? Yuland. He wins the battle this time, holding the football.
Yeah, he got it back, didn't he, Luce?
Yeah.
He was embarrassed once. He wouldn't let it happen again. Bodie Yuland, and chest out, peacock style. Gets back to Sharon, to Brandon Ellis. Everything's got to be perfect for the Suns if they want to come away winners from here. Port Melbourne are on top. Sexton to the broadcast side. Cheetahs has to sit under it. McKenzie closed quickly and got a beautiful fist in. Over the line it goes. Right beneath us, we'll have this one thrown in. The Borough searching for their first win in their 150th anniversary season. Zip 4 to start 2024. Can they sit 1-4 tonight? Thrown back in. Casbolt pushed Flockhart aside, just grabbed it out of the rug and then thumped it inside 50 on the right boot. Long will sit underneath it. Watson was brilliant. Long kept his feet. It went through his legs. Hurd, wrapped up. Real strong tackle from Nick Francis. Got him over the line. We'll have this one thrown in. Right where the 50 meets the boundary. Some tired bodies out there. But Port Melbourne will not give in until this final siren has sounded. Is there one last twist in the tail for the Gold Coast Suns? Casbolt and Flockhart will do ruck again. Thrown back in. One down by Levi. Felix just spun around and dumped it down the line, and big Jimmy Miller didn't take the mark. Hooper threw his body in. He's got options. He wants to kick, and kick well, because Jimmy Conlon takes the mark.
Conlon right in front of us here on the broadcast wing of ETU Stadium, looks up the ground, goes for a run, just sets it up at half forward. Rourke Smith couldn't take the mark. Ball still in dispute. Miller had to go down a long way, was pulled off it. Players come in everywhere. Umpire crosses the arms. Ball up inside 50. 15-point lead for Port Melbourne. They've dug in the fourth quarter to wrestle back that momentum. They've put themselves back in front. So we're into time on, almost into time on here at ETU Stadium. Another ball up. McComb there with the pressure. Right on 50 for the Borough. Flockhart went a little early with the leap. Missed the tap down. Francis now just paddled the ball to himself. Falkhead spirals it towards Casbolt. Really good by McKenzie. Just engaged Casbolt early to get that separation and kicks it back to centre half back to Rankin.
Had a very good day has Rankin at centre half back. His kick though lets him down. Farah takes the mark. Go to Awaya. Might be held up by Watson on the mark. Farah ran past. Awaya thought better of it. Wait for the cavalry to arrive inside 50. Casbolt is that man who brought it to the front of the contest. Ellis with a nice clean step and a nice clean snap, but it's a minus score. 14 points now, the margin. But they wanted to hit the money shot, the top spot in front of goal. Unfortunately, they lose. Another behind. 9 goals, 17 to 13-7 as Tom Highmore brings the footy in.
So Highmore, another disposal to his name. It's been really big in this last quarter to stop those scoring opportunities for the Suns. Ball went to a pack. Coming out through it. The kick was smothered. Still it finds its way inside 50. Hurd just got a foot on it.
Oh.
Now Sullivan turns. Kicks it away to the right. So back-to-back behinds for the Suns. 13 points the lead for Port Melbourne.
So Watson's now going to have a crack at bringing the footy back in. They may aim to go out to that Norm Goss stand side. The huddle at centre-half forward starts to move that way. Johnson takes it in the back pocket. Stops and props. He's pointing and directing traffic. So they keep it to the outer side of the ground, and jumping Jai Farah springs at his feet, takes the mark. It's been a feature of his game. Kicking a half out from goal for Farah. He'll thump it as long and as strong as he can.
Great mark.
Terrific from McKenzie. We've seen him do that a couple of times in this final term already. Reading it well in the air. Stubbings in the back pocket. The boy out of Old Scotch. Time for think music. Down the line for Maguire in a 2-on-1. Vickers as it hits the ground. McCobe was brilliant. 2 Vickers. He gets it back. He thumps it down the line. Flockhart's got to go back with a flight. He didn't get fingers on it. Out of bounds on the full. So another opportunity for the Suns loose to go forward, but they've got 13 points that they need to make up, and we've gone 22 and a half minutes in this final term.
So well into time on territory now.
Haven't been long quarters either today, Luce.
Just 3 goals this quarter, so it can't be that much longer left. They need to score now. They need to do it quick, the Suns, if they want to stay in this game. Francis came in to steal the football from Johnston. Tackle comes in. Arms across. Ball up will be about 70 metres from the Suns' goal. So Port Melbourne finding their way back on top after coming in a 3-point deficit at 3/4 time. Cheetahs awaited the pressure, spun out of it. Falkhead driven into the turf by Hooper. Port Melbourne players calling out contest, contest. They just want to go contest, contest to finish off this game. Flockhart, Gowers dropped the football in the tackle. Moyle sends it inboard for Casbolt. Came off his hands. Farah running towards the football. Gets the handball away. Long snaps. Hits the belly of the footy. It'll go to the top of the goal square for Johnston.
Oh.
He's back immediately.
He's wasting no time.
He wants to kick it. He knows there's not long left. That's exactly what he does, Lloyd Johnston. Back to 7 points.
Oh, we've got a grandstand finish at ETU Stadium. He's had a very good second half as Lloyd Johnston loose. Kicked 2 goals, 1. Been busy around the forward line. Him and Jai Farah continue to fly for marks. But the inaccuracy, well, right now, it counts for very little, but it may come home to rue it, as we spoke about throughout that first half. This term alone, they've kicked the 1 goal 3. Port Melbourne 3 goals 1. After leading by 3 points at 3/4 time, they trailed by as much as 32 at the main break.
Suns not out of it yet.
Just yet, no. Nearing the end of this contest. Gone about 24 minutes in this final term. Moyle and Felix Flockhart in the ruck. Perfect bounce from the umpire. Ned won it down. Wild went after the footy, which meant Davies got the football and thumped it inside 50 for the Suns. It's a 1-on-1 with Casbolt. Ball hits the deck. McKenzie's running away from Jai Farah, just thumping it to space, and that's where Awaya is. He's been living on that side of the ground in this last term. Had 3 or 4 marks. Cuts back inboard to Bodie Hewland. It's a stacked forward 50 arc. Can he pick out a target or will he go himself? The young man will thump it into goal. And Casbolt will mark it on the line. But Levi will be put on an angle. And we have spoken ad nauseum about Levi's tendency to have the scrambled radar. But if he kicks accurately here, we're back to a 1-point ball game at ETU Stadium. He's kicked 2-2. He's kicked 3-2. And the sun rises again. It's a 1-point ball game at ETU Stadium with only a couple of minutes left. 13-7, 85 to 11-18, 84. We're in for a killer de la grandstand finish here, Luce.
Just seen Port Melbourne go away from what got them that lead back. The contest, go contest to contest, win those clearances. They know they can score from clearance if they put that pressure on the Suns, but they're just letting the Suns get on top with that uncontested game again, and they've made these opportunities. As we've said, it doesn't take much. 2 back-to-back goals in the space of about a minute and a half, and now it's just 1 point. So Port Melbourne, they've got to get the pressure up. They've got to make it a slog from here on out. They just have to hold on for their first win of the VFL season.
Will be recalled.
Umpire will recall the ball. 2 seconds off the clock, maybe.
Now Hooper is standing Davies. Cam Wild having a spell.
So here we go. Restart here. Moyle just slaps it forward. Hooper with the footy. McComb. Green comes to half forward. Coming out to meet it is Jeffrey. He's had a good game here for the Suns. Turns. Sends it inside 50. Casbolt running out to meet it. He was pushed.
Oh, it's going the Port Melbourne way.
It's going Port Melbourne's way. So Tom Highmore was pushed, and there's 50.
Yeah, so Levi Luce was frustrated as all get out that he wasn't given the push. It was against him, and then there was a direct point to the umpire and genuine frustration. And that's why this 50's followed up for Tom Highmore.
So Highmore, he's brought way up the ground on the edge of the cricket pitch here at ETU Stadium. Just steps back, looking at these one-on-ones inside 50. Where's he going to send it? He's called to play on. He's going to go short this time. He has a player. Mark not taken by Smith. Oya comes in. So does Hurd. Pack of players. There's a tackle. Vickers wants the handball. The snap on goal comes to the top of the teeth of goal. Now, there was a throw, a blatant throw from a Suns defender. Umpire missed it. Mark can't be taken. Ball still in dispute in this middle of the ground. Comes out in front of the Norm Goss stand. Port Melbourne still forward they come. McComb hands it off to Hurd. Left foot kick towards goal. Green out the back was pushed off it. Suns defence now. Opportunity to mop up. Miller. Yuland will get it. Yuland will send it up the broadcast wing. Long. Watson couldn't take the mark. Stooldryer gets it to Monica.
And Monica stops and props right in front of us. He thumps the footy inside 50. Everything met with urgency. Flockhart, brilliant mark, Graham. The last roll of the dice for the Suns. Through the corridor. Hooper goes back with a flight. Intercepted by his own teammate. It's locked up. It's locked up in the centre circles. There was a touch of confusion. Hooper, slow to get to his feet. Thrown up in the centre square. Moyle and Miller will do the ruck work. Down to the captain. Kick smothered. Ellis, he gets a kick out of the danger zone. Thumps it to half forward. How will it bounce? Kindly for Long. He might have been wrapped up. He threw it away. Coming out to meet this one was Davies, who got the handball inside 50. Gowers is awake to it. Sinks the slipper into it. A one-on-one with Flockhart and Graham. Felix didn't win the day. Graham did. He swings it to the corridor. There's a chance for the Gold Coast Suns. They're off to the races with Jeffries. He's slow and composed in getting this ball. Was there a 50? Sexton said no. He's got to go back over his mark. Now loose. That might have been a touch silly in the end by Sexton, because now he's got to go back over his mark and take the kick.
So Sexton, every player almost in front of him, every Port Melbourne player in front of him. He goes, he sends it long, inside 50, players coming out to meet it. Highmore will get there first.
Oh, he's been enormous today, hasn't he, Tom Highmore? Enormous in the back 50 for Port Melbourne.
particularly in this last quarter. That's mark number 15 for Tom Highmore. He'll send it to the Norm Goss side of ETU Stadium. Big pack of players, no mark taken. Jeffrey puts on the Jets, gets to half forward. Just a piercing football inside 50 looking for Casbolt. Punched away, out of bounds. Ball incoming. 30 minutes gone, 1 point the difference. Borough searching for their first win of the season.
And it's at the end of the ground in which the Gold Coast Suns are kicking and they trail by a point. We've had one draw already in the Smithies VFL with the Gold Coast Suns last weekend against the Swans. Will history repeat itself, or could Port Melbourne hang on? Folkhead managed to fashion a handball to Davies. Into goal! The Suns might have just stolen this one from the Borough. Every player gets to Alex Davies. Something from nothing. The number 5 has put the Suns in front against the odds. And there's been a whistle. It's a blood rule. And Tom Hurd will come from the ground. Alex Davies, who's been well held from Cam Wild all afternoon, has put the Suns in front. 12-18-90 to 13-7-85. Well, Luce, when your moment comes up, take your chance. And that's what Alex Davies has done just there.
It's been Alex Davies v Port Melbourne today. They've put so much attention into Alex Davies today. He's been in the ruck, he's played forward, he's been all over the ground trying to put his influence on the game. And just when it matters,
I think there's a warning.
There's been a warning
for Will Rowlands not being inside the 50-metre arc for the 666.
But Davies, as you said, you just got to take your moment when it comes. Moyle wins the tap, holds it in. Gowers comes in over the top. Umpire will ball it up.
Brave umpire if you call that one.
Yep, 32 minutes gone. Suns back in front. Ball thrown up. Moyle just drags out of the ruck. 1-on-1. Highmore wins it again.
Last chance, Luce.
Siren! Port Melbourne was searching for their first win of the season. It's been stolen by the Suns. They spent a mere 6.5 minutes in front today, the Suns.